Okay, Jai, welcome. We are going to begin our Caitanya Charitamrita reading for today. We'll start with our invocation. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shivate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Shatarane. Why don't you slide over here because then we can hear you better. Get a little closer. Huh? That's okay. All right, so we left off on Adi Leela, chapter 5, text 62. Maya amshe kahitare nimita karana sehana heyate karta hetu narayana. Sneha.
The Maya aspect of material nature is the immediate cause of the cosmic manifestation, but it cannot be the real cause, for the original cause is Lord Narayan.
Gatera nimita hetu yaiche kumbhakara taiche jagatera karta purushavatara.
Just as the original cause of an earthen pot is the potter, so the creator of the material world is the first Purusha incarnation, Karnar Navashe Vishnu.
Okay, we talked about this yesterday, right? Krishna Karta Maya Tanra Karena Sahaya Gatera Karana Chakra Dandari Upaya. Hannah?
Lord Krishna is the creator, and Maya only helps him as an instrument, just like the potter's wheel and other instruments, which are the instrumental causes of a pot.
Mm-hmm. So this analogy came up previously in Prabhupada's purport, and now Krishna's Kaviraj is saying it. Durahaite Purusha Kare Mayate Avadana Jiva Rupa Viryatate Karena Adana. Vrindavan Natabar?
The first Purusha casts his glance at Maya from a distance, and thus he impregnates her with the seed of life in the form of the living entities.
Eka anga bhase kare maya te milana maya haite janme tabe brahmandera gana. We have a new participant here today, Amruta. Are you able to read? You're not. How about Ajit or Ananga Manjari?
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry.
Hare Krishna.
I just need to pull it up. So I'm not prepared to read yet. Sorry.
Okay, I will read then. The reflected rays of his body mix with Maya, and thus Maya gives birth to myriad universes. There's a big purport nearby, Srila Prabhupada. The Vedic conclusion is that the cosmic manifestation visible to the eyes of the conditioned soul is caused by the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, through the exertion of his specific energies. Although in the conclusion of atheistic deliberations, this manifested cosmic exhibition is attributed to material nature. The energy of the absolute truth is exhibited in three ways: spiritual, material, and marginal. The absolute truth is identical with his spiritual energy. Only when contacted by the spiritual energy can the material energy work, and the temporary material manifestations thus appear active. In the conditioned state, the living entities of the marginal energy are a mixture of spiritual and material energies. The marginal energy is originally under the control of the spiritual energy, but under the control of the material energy, the living entities have been wandering in forgetfulness within the material world since time immemorial. So he's saying that it's material energy, it doesn't have life into itself. It doesn't move, it doesn't change, it doesn't do things. Only when it's infused with spiritual energy. So the same way, yeah, he's saying atheists say that this cosmic manifestation is because of, it's just a product of material nature and nothing else. But the Vedic conclusion is that no, behind the material nature, there's a cause. There's somebody who's making it all spring into action. In the same way, this material body is nothing unless the soul is present, right? It's just a dead lump of matter. But if the soul is present in the body, then it works, it functions, it talks, it, is bright and shiny and active and grows and does all kinds of wonderful things. So in the same way, when Krishna puts his spiritual energy, internal energy into the material world, then the material world starts to, grow and morph and do all kinds of wonderful things, the same way that our bodies do. It's kind of like the universal body, and the Supreme Soul enters into it through his glance and the infusion of his energies. The conditioned state is caused by misuse of the individual independence of the spiritual platform, for this separates the living entity from the association of the spiritual energy. But when the living entity is enlightened by the grace of the Supreme Lord or his pure devotee and becomes inclined to revive his original state of loving service, he is on the most auspicious platform of eternal bliss and knowledge. The marginal jiva or living entity misuses his independence and becomes averse to the eternal service attitude when he independently thinks he is not energy but the energetic. This misconception of his own existence leads him to the attitude of lording it over material nature. So, yeah, we really kind of get it wrong in multiple ways, right? Either we think that we're matter, we think that I am this body, and the body is made of senses, and if I'm this body, then my purpose is to give pleasure to my senses of my body, engage the body in ways that make the body happy because I'm just a body, and that's in my self-interest to do so. Or we think that we are the source of everything. We think I am the cause of all causes. I'm the Lord of all surveys. I'm the controller, the enjoyer. And it's kind of like both ends of the spectrum, right? Because there's God, and then there's the jivas, and then there's matter. So we somehow don't like, in the conditioned state, we don't like to just accept that I'm a jiva. Either we have to be I am matter or I am God. There's like it's one extreme or the other. There's no like in between that. No, I'm the jiva, and I'm a servant of God, and I use this matter to serve God. Simple. No, but somehow that doesn't come to the mind of the jiva very easily. Material nature appears to be just the opposite of the spiritual energy. The fact is that the material energy can only work when in contact with the spiritual energy. Originally, the energy of Krishna is spiritual, but it works in diverse ways, like electrical energy, which can exhibit the functions of refrigerating or heating through its manifestations in different ways. The material energy is spiritual energy covered by a cloud of illusion. And so there you go. This is what the material energy is. It's actually spiritual energy covered by a cloud of illusion. That's basically what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Because he says, Daivi hiesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. He says this divine energy, he calls it Daivi, means divine, or spiritual, right? This divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature. You're like, wait a minute, I thought the three modes were material energy. And then Prabhupada explains, no, all Krishna's energies are ultimately divine. But when they're separated from him, and as he says here, covered by a cloud of illusion, then it becomes material. Therefore, the material energy is not self-sufficient in working. Krishna invests his spiritual energy into material energy, then it can act, just as iron can act like fire after being heated by fire. The material energy can act only when empowered by the spiritual energy. When covered by the cloud of material energy, the living entity, who is also a spiritual energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, forgets about the activities of the spiritual energy and considers all that happens in the material manifestation to be wonderful. This world is so wonderful. But a person who is engaged in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness and who is therefore already situated in the spiritual energy can understand that the material energy has no independent powers. Whatever actions are going on are due to the help of the spiritual energy. So yeah, this material world is wonderful, but the reason it's wonderful is because it's wonderfully controlled and directed by Krishna, who is the most wonderful. The material energy, which is a perverted form of the spiritual energy, presents everything pervertedly, thus causing misconceptions and duality. Material scientists and philosophers conditioned by the spell of material nature suppose that material energy acts automatically, and therefore they are frustrated, like an illusion person who tries to get milk from the nipple-like bunches of skin on the neck of a goat. As there is no possibility of getting milk from these bunches of skin, there is similarly no possibility that anyone will be successful in understanding the original cause of creation by putting forward theories produced by the material energy. Such an attempt is a manifestation of ignorance. Yeah, so Krishna is adokshaja. Right? He's beyond the reach of our senses. Our senses cannot go there. He says that Atashri Krishna namadi nabhaved grahyam indriyai sevan mukhe jivado swayameva svaratyada. Right? That's from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That because Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes, etc., are all in the absolute transcendental spiritual platform, they can't be understood by the material senses, nor can they be understood by the material mind. So he's saying here. So no matter how much we speculate and rack our brains to try to understand Krishna and the original cause of creation, we're just not going to get it. We're just going to come up with some stupid theory that there was some chunk that came out of nowhere and exploded, and so that's about the best we can do since the beginning of human history, trying to come up with some explanation. So, but he says, Sevan Mukhe, but by engaging the senses, particularly the tongue, in the service of the Lord, then the senses become purified, and then we can actually come to understand who Krishna really is, because Krishna reveals himself to the one who surrenders to him in service. So this is the way to understand all these things. So that's why really you need to be a devotee to understand Krishna. Krishna says, Bhakti-mam abhijananti. He can be understood only by devotion, by his devotees. And similarly, all the processes that come from him, right? All of his Krishna means the absolute truth. He's not just Krishna, this boy who plays the flute, but he also is, everything. This world is his energies, all the processes and systems and all the laws and everything are all manifestations of Krishna's energy. And only through devotion to Krishna, surrender to Krishna, and service to Krishna, can the real nature and workings of all these things be understood, because they're revealed by him. Okay, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Maya, or illusion, because in two capacities, by supplying the material elements and by causing the material manifestation, it makes the conditioned soul unable to understand the real truth of creation. However, when a living entity is liberated from the conditioned life of matter, he can understand the two different activities of material nature, namely covering and bewildering. Yeah, in Bhagavatam it says that Maya has these two functions. That one is, I always forget the Sanskrit, but anyways, one is throwing, has a throwing potency, and the other is a covering potency. So the first thing that Maya does is it throws us into this material world. Get out of here. Poof. We get banished. And then the second thing, throws us into the material world and then covers us with illusion, ignorance, and makes us think that we're something that we're not, and that this world has a purpose which is not the real purpose, and so forth. Yeah. The origin of creation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:10, the cosmic manifestation is working under the direction of the Supreme Lord, who invests the material energy with three material qualities: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Agitated by these qualities, the elements supplied by the material energy produce varieties of things, just as an artist produces varieties of pictures by mixing the three colors yellow, red, and blue. Yellow represents the quality of goodness, red represents passion, and blue represents ignorance. Therefore, the colorful material creation is but an interaction of these three qualities, represented in 81 varieties and mixtures. 3 times 3 equaling 9, 9 times 9 thus equaling 81. Deluded by the material energy, the conditioned soul, enamored by these 81 varieties of manifestations, wants to lord it over material nature, just as a moth wants to enjoy a fire. What happens to the moth when it wants to enjoy the fire? It gets burnt to a crisp. So that's what happens. We come to this material world trying to enjoy, we get fried. This illusion is the net result of its conditioned soul's forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When conditioned, the soul is impelled by the material energy to engage in sense gratification, whereas when enlightened by the spiritual energy, engages himself in the service of the Supreme Lord in his eternal relationship. So this math here, 3 qualities times 3, 9, 9 times 9, 81. That's coming because there are different, like there's goodness, passion, and ignorance, but then within goodness, there's also goodness, passion, and ignorance. And then within those, there's also goodness, passion, and ignorance. So you can have, yeah, sometimes I give the example of, if you think of like a cow. So a cow is considered to be an animal in the mode of goodness, but then, you know, there are different kinds of cows and cows have different natures. So some cows are very gentle and peaceful and, loving. And then some cows are just very like passionate and they'll like push you around and shake your head and scare you. And then some cows are just downright mean. So yeah, different cows. Even cows are in the mode of goodness, but it's goodness, 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 passion, goodness, ignorance. And then you can further divide that the ones that are goodness, goodness also have their shades of goodness, passion, ignorance. So like this, we get all these different nuances of personalities and qualities, 81 different kinds of cows.
Is there also a thing like in this material world when it was created? In goodness also they have, like what you are saying, in goodness also they have a mixture of I and like the ego, like these three modes. I think you
Yeah,
were
so in
explaining
the
something.
beginning of creation, the way it works is that the false ego is the first thing that's generated, and then that gets influenced by the 3 modes, and then it generates things. So I was saying how the mode of goodness produces the mind, but then mind can be in goodness, passion, or ignorance, right? And even there can be goodness, 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 passion, goodness, ignorance. And then activities, right? Like let's say sex life. Sex is an activity of mode of passion. But then sex that's performed according to religious principles is in the mode of goodness. So it's like passion, goodness. But then if it's just done out of lust for enjoyment, then it's passion, passion. And if it's done in ignorance, like in like rape or something like that, then it's passion, ignorance. And then those also have their divisions. So like that, we get all different qualities of things. Okay. Where were we? Krishna is the original cause of the spiritual world, and he is covered by the cause of the material manifestation. Yeah, that's why we don't see him. Because he's covered by the material manifestation. In the spiritual world, Krishna is very visible. He is also the original cause of the marginal potency, the living entities. He is both the leader and maintainer of the living entities, who are called the marginal potency because they can act under the protection of the spiritual energy or under the cover of the material energy. With the help of the spiritual energy, we can understand that independence is visible only in Krishna, who is by his inconceivable energy is able to act in any way that he likes. Yeah, so Krishna, in one sense, Krishna gives us independence, right? We always say that we have our independence. Krishna doesn't interfere with our independence. But our independence is basically that we have a choice. We can choose who to depend on. we don't have ultimate independence. But Prabhupada is saying that independence is visible only in Krishna. So yeah, we can decide whether we're going to be controlled by Krishna or whether we're going to be controlled by Maya, the material energy, and in what ways we're going to be controlled by Maya and what ways we're going to be controlled by Krishna.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If here it says he is also the original cause of the marginal potency of the living entities, but that word cause is confusing for me because then we hear that for the soul there's neither birth nor death at any time. So what does that mean? The original cause of the
Yeah.
marginal potency.
I mean, it means that we come from him. We are parts and parcels of him, right? We're parts of him. But yeah, never was there a time when we didn't exist. So it's not a linear thing. It's difficult for the material mind to grasp.
Yeah.
But somehow or other, we came from him, but we have always been at the same time because he has always been. Right? We're so used to everything being temporary and having a beginning and an end that it's difficult for us to conceptualize eternity, eternal existence, and how things come about in an eternal environment where everything is eternal. How does anything happen? How does anything like, you know, yeah, if everything is eternal and every moment lasts forever, then how does the day go? You know, like how does it become lunchtime?
Wouldn't it be so boring? Everything is.
Well, it's not. It's because everything is so wonderful. It's just like when you're very happy and you're really enjoying some, event or conversation or feeling or something, and you want it to last forever. So it doesn't last forever, but in the spiritual world, it lasts forever. So every moment is like a blissful moment that you want to last forever, and it does.
Mhm.
And then the next moment is like another moment that you want to last forever, and it does. So, and it just goes on like that forever.
I was
So,
feeling like I wanted the class to last forever yesterday. I was so sad when it was over.
aw.
It's
You must be a
true.
great devotee, Hannah. You have a taste for
My ears are burning.
you
Move on.
you have a taste for Caitanya Charitamrita. Okay, where are we here? The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the absolute whole, and the living entities are parts of the absolute whole. This relationship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities is eternal. Oh, we're just saying that. One should never mistakenly think that the spiritual whole can be divided into small parts by the small material energy. The Bhagavad Gita does not support this Mayavad theory. Rather, it clearly states that the living entities are eternal small fragments of the supreme spiritual whole. As a part can never be equal with the whole, so a living entity, as a minute fragment of the spiritual whole, cannot be equal at any time to the supreme whole, the absolute personality of Godhead. Although the Supreme Lord and the living entities are quantitatively related as the whole and parts, the parts are nevertheless qualitatively one with the whole. Thus, the living entities, although always qualitatively one with the Supreme Whole, are in a relative position. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the controller of everything, and the living entities are always controlled, either by the spiritual energy or the material energy. Therefore, a living entity can never become the controller of material or spiritual energies. The natural position of the living entity is always as a subordinate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one agrees to act in such a position, he attains perfection in life. But if one rebels against this principle, he is in the conditioned state. So we have to learn to be happily subordinate. Yeah, it's nice to be subordinate to Krishna. Krishna is so kind. And actually, uh, when we just surrender to Krishna, that Krishna, I'm yours, you just do whatever you want with me, just have me and engage me in your service as you like, then yeah, Krishna becomes very happy, and he actually he doesn't he doesn't uh he doesn't make his subordinates feel subordinate. Like in this world, people will, if you're in a corporate setting or some hierarchical institution or something, people will be very clear about, if you're their subordinate, they will, make you aware of that. Like, you are my subordinate, you have to do what I say, you don't sit in my chair, you don't put your things on my desk, whatever. So, but Krishna's not like that. Krishna's like, yeah, you sit there and I'll just drive the chariot, and you take the higher position, you get the credit, I'll just wash your feet and put the water on my head. And it's like the devotees can start forgetting, like, really, who's the boss? Because uh, Krishna finds the position of being the subordinate the preferable one. So he takes every opportunity to actually be in the subordinate position. And that's why he comes as Lord Chaitanya, right? Is because it's ha it's um there's more happiness in um being a servant of Krishna than there is in being Krishna. Okay, good. That's how kind Krishna is, that he wants us. See, if you think about it, like, how much happiness we're trying to please Krishna by our service, but how much happiness can we really give Krishna? We're so small. And we're so unstable. Whereas Krishna, he's just like unlimited, and he's capable of giving unlimited happiness, unlimited love, unlimited empowerment, unlimited mercy, everything. And it's like it says that if Krishna wants to give, then with your two hands, how much can you hold? Like we can't even accommodate, we can't even like contain the amount of happiness and love and things that Krishna wants to bestow upon us. So it's better to be in our position than his position, right?
Yeah.
It's better to be the one that the person who's unlimited is trying to please you than being the position where some insignificant little, speck is trying to please you. Of course, he has a lot of insignificant specks that adds up to quite a few, but it never adds up to him. Fortunately, Krishna is Atma Rama. He's self-satisfied, and also he's very grateful. So even though we can only offer him something very small, he accepts it as something very big and meaningful. Okay. Yes. Oh, Divya.
Hare Krishna, I just had a thought. I was listening to a class by Kishore Gopal a few days ago, and it was interesting because he was also talking about how to us it may seem kind of inconceivable that Krishna is actually desirous of our association because we see ourselves as little just little jivas like roaming around. But why that is actually because Krishna sees us in our original nature. Like he sees us for how amazing we actually are and for who we actually are, and we're obviously not. Well, at least at least speaking for myself, I'm not self-realized, so I don't know who that is, but Krishna does. So kind of like reminding myself that I'm actually not who I think I am. um it kind of propels me or inspires me to do what I can every day, whatever things that may seem small, whatever steps I can take to actually get to where that is, because if Krishna's desirous of my association, that must mean that um that I have something important to offer him.
Yeah. Yeah, Prabhupada said that he's more eager for us to go back to him than we are to go back. Right? But I mean, what you said just made me think that imagine what it's like for Krishna to see us the way he sees us. And because he sees us for who we really are, that we have some eternal, Swarup, we have an eternal spiritual form, eternal spiritual personalities, very blissful, full of knowledge and all sort. And and then to see us acting the way we are now, it must just be so ridiculous. Krishna must be like, what the hell is wrong with them? Like, why are they so convinced that there's something that they're not?
That's why he gave us Prabhupada.
Right? It's like Krishna, he must just want to shake us, like, come on, like, you are not that. Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's like us when we see people suffering like anything, and we try to give them a book that's gonna like teach them the mantra and teach them the process, and they're just like, nah, I'm all right. I'm fine. We're like, no, you're not. You're suffering. You're gonna die. You're gonna go to hell. It's terrible.
But I was reading something the other day, and it was saying that when we uh, eventually are reunited with Krishna, he doesn't see any of the he doesn't see any of the births we've taken, all the terrible. He sees us,
Yeah.
which is really
Yeah,
you
he's
know when
just
someone
it's all like it's just, in the past. It's like nothing. And also the other thing is this each lifetime from Krishna's point of view is so short. It's like, it's just like a flash in eternity. Prayushi wanted to say something?
Does he ever be and entertain? Is my devotees doing crazy stuff?
Maybe we provide some comic relief sometimes.
oh
I don't know.
I mean, if it was me, I would have been impressed if it was such a person like myself. There's no one.
Yeah, like in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, Krishna's talking to Gopakumar when he finally, goes back to Godhead, and he's like, every lifetime I was just thinking, maybe this will be the lifetime where they, turn their face towards me and take to bhakti and come back home. And then you get distracted or something else. And then I thought, okay, maybe this lifetime he's going to make it. But then, oh, you get entangled with something. And maybe this lifetime, like every lifetime, he's thinking, all right, maybe this is going to be the last one. But what was us? Lifetime after lifetime, we're staying here.
I was thinking that like how the purport started when you said about our problem is we want to enjoy.
Mm,
And it ends with the how if we are not the controller. So I
yeah,
was thinking that we are controller because we want to enjoy something. And then
Yeah.
that enjoyment is so subtle. Like I was thinking, okay, this question, bodily level we want enjoyment, emotional level we want enjoyment, we want enjoyment in sense gratification. How do we get out of like we can serve, but still there is some like propensity of enjoyment,
yeah,
so deep enjoyment,
yeah.
feeling the desire for to
Well, it's like Mother Nandini was giving class here in Dallas this morning, and then she said that she was a very new devotee. She was Bhakti Nancy, and His Holiness Tamal Krishna was giving class, and he said the purpose of life is to enjoy. And then he just kind of said that, and then she had been coming to some hearing classes and talking to devotees over some time already, so she was very confused by that. She raised her hand. She's like, you said the purpose of life is to enjoy, but I keep hearing from the devotees, and I think you yourself also said it, that we're not the enjoyers, and material enjoyment is sinful and degrading and entangling, and so what's going on here? And he said, no, that we should not, it's degrading if we try to enjoy separately from Krishna. But the purpose of life is to enjoy with Krishna. The purpose of life is to give enjoyment to Krishna. And and through that enjoyment, we also enjoy. Right? So so that's it. So we are made for enjoyment. We are literally made for enjoyment. That's why Krishna made us, is to increase his enjoyment, right? So our existence is all about enjoyment. And just that we're looking for enjoyment in the wrong places. We have to find our enjoyment with Krishna, in the service of Krishna, and then everything. That's why we keep wanting to enjoy. We can't give up enjoyment, because we literally cannot give up enjoyment. It's our nature. It's the essence. It's our dharma, basically. Satchit
Yes.
Ananda. That's who we are.
So how do Krishna what's the best?
Yeah. Yeah, devotional service. Right? Like it's like you go to the Kirtan festival, you dance in front of the deities, you do service, you throwing flower petals on the deities and throwing the maha flowers on each other. It's enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
It's enjoyment with Krishna. So that's the kind of enjoyment that we can do and
Yeah.
be happy and get purified. And that's what they do in the spiritual world, right?
Play.
They're just playing and swinging, and they're doing water sports and dancing and eating and so many things, having festival every day. So that's where we're supposed to be. But we're just looking for enjoyment and love in all the wrong places here, and just getting fried and burnt and miserable. Okay, let's go ahead. Oh, we read not very much. Text 67. Aganya ananta yata andasanivesha tatarupe purusha kare sabate prakasha. Sneha.
The Purusha enters each and every one of the countless universes. He manifests himself in as many separate forms as there are universes.
So you see, we were talking about yesterday how there's not just one universe, there's countless universes, like mustard seeds in a big, huge burlap sack full of mustard seeds, that many universes. And this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who enters the universe, he expands into there's countless universes, and he expands himself into countless forms and enters into each one of those universes. So there's many, many millions and billions and zillions of Garbhodakshaya Vishnus, all existing simultaneously in different universes. Purusha nasate yabe bahiraya swasha nishvasa sahitehaya brahmanda prakasha. Pragati.
When the Purusha exhales, the universes are manifested with each outward breath.
Yeah, Purusha nasate means the nose, the Purusha's nose. When he breathes air out of his nose, then the universes come out. Brahmanda Prakash. The Brahmanda means universe, they manifest. Punarapi swasha yabe pravesha antare swasha saha brahmanda paishe purusha sharire.
Thereafter, when inhale, operations and enter spark.
Can you imagine that? They're just like when we inhale so many like little particles of dust that we can't see. Maybe every time we inhale like 100 particles of dust, and maybe when we breathe out, we also breathe out some germs or whatever, water vapor and all sorts of things that come out of us. So it's like that, but the universes are like specks of dust or little, germs in the air, little particles of invisible water vapor or something. You breathe in it, breathes out. That's it. And yeah, we were talking about how this lifetime is so insignificant. How many lifetimes do we live during one manifestation of a universe? And the universe exists only for the duration of Lord Vishnu's exhalation. That's how insignificant we are. Our how long does the universe last for? At least the day of Brahma, right? The earthly planetary systems last for the day of Brahma, which is like millions of years. And in that time, we have many, 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 maybe a million lifetimes. And all those million lifetimes are just like, they all just get. Okay, who read that? You want to read the purport there?
In his form of Kamalakshay Vishnu, the Lord impregnates material nature by his glance. The transcendental molecules of that glance are particles of spirit or spiritual atoms which appear in different species of life according to the needs of their individual karma from the previous cosmic manifestation. And the Lord himself, by his partial representation, creates a body of innumerable universes and again enters each of those universes as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. His coming into contact with Maya is explained in the Bhagavad Gita by a comparison between air and the sky. The sky enters everything material, yet it is far away from us.
Yeah, so Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters the universe, but he's not a part of the universe. But this was interesting. Look, the Lord's glance consists of transcendental molecules, which are particles of spirit, spiritual atoms, which appear in different species of life according to the seeds of their individual karma from the previous cosmic manifestation. So this happens is that, the Lord breathes, because when the Lord inhales, then the universes, along with all the living entities, go into the body of Mahavishnu, right? But when he exhales, the universes come out, and the living entities also come out. And he's giving us a little information here that the living entities come out through his glance. And we are these little particles of spirit. And we're little spiritual atoms, right? Spirit souls who we get bodies in different species according to our karma from the previous cosmic manifestation. So from our last lifetime, during the last, manifestation of the last exhalation of the Lord, last cosmic manifestation, according to our consciousness and our karma and all that from then we just pick up where we left off after a long, long period of dormancy. It's really like, right? Okay. Gavakshira Randreyena Trasarenu Chale Purushara Loma Kupe Brahmandera Jale.
Just as So the networks of universes pass through the pores of the skin of the Purusha.
So you see that, on the cover of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that Mahavishnu is lying there and all the universes. He's just like chilling. And so some are coming out of his nose, the spirit souls are coming from his glance. Other universes are coming from the pores of his body. He's just like exuding. Everything is just coming out.
This, where Prabhupada was saying that, like how a rain waters everywhere in the land, and according to the seed, sometimes a weed grows, sometimes a tree grows.
Yeah.
So as per our seed of karma,
Mm.
the glancing is same, but as per our seed, we grow, and that's how we take different bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, because we all come from the same place and we all come through the same vehicle, right? But we end up with very different experiences. That's our part, right? That's our responsibility.
Wait, I'm a little bit confused. I thought it was Karnadakshai Vishnu that glances at Maya, and then the spiritual atoms come from his eye. And then I thought isn't it Kshirodakshai Vishnu that sits on the Garbhodak ocean that
No,
then
it's
manifests the
Garbhodakshayi
universe?
Vishnu
Oh, I'm Garbhodakshay Vishnu that then emanates
enters the universe. No,
yeah,
the
so
universe is first, the universes come from Mahavishnu, who's also called Karanadakshayi Vishnu. And then he
Mhm.
expands into many millions of Garbhodakshayi Vishnus who enter into each of the universes.
Mm.
And he lies down in the Garbhodak ocean, and then from him grows the lotus flower on which Brahma pops out. And then Garbhodakshayi Vishnu further expands into Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, who he resides on the spiritual planet in the material world called Swetadweep, where there's an ocean of milk. And he also becomes the Paramatma in the in the hearts of every being.
So then when do the living entities come out? Is it at the glands or is it in the Garbhodak ocean?
The living entities come through the glance.
Through the glands.
And how they get from the glance to, being a grasshopper jumping around on a leaf, I don't know.
That's funny.
Okay, let's read this. This is a verse from Brahma Samhita. Yasyaika nishvasita kalamatavalambyā jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanataha Vishnur mahansa iha yasya kala vishesho govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Back to you, Hannah.
The Brahmas and other lords of the mundane worlds appear from the pores of Mahavishnu and remain alive for the duration of his one exhalation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Mahavishnu is a portion of a plenary portion. Purport. This description of the Lord's creative energy is from the Brahma Samhita 548, which Lord Brahma compiled after his personal realization. When Mahavishnu exhales, the spiritual seeds of the universes emanate from him in the form of molecular particles like those that are visible 3 times the size of an atom. When the sunlight is diffused through small holes. In these days of atomic research, it will be a worthwhile engagement for atomic scientists to learn from this statement how the entire creation develops from the spiritual atoms emanating from the body of the Lord.
I remember when I was a kid, sometimes we had a house and it was this old dusty house. So there was always like a lot of dust, especially in the winter time when all the windows were always closed and we had carpets and furniture and there was always dust, right? So we had this big picture window and it was on the western, the street facing, the front of the house was facing west. So in the afternoon, the sun would come beaming into that big picture window. And and there'd be like a beam of light, and you'd see all these dust, in the light beam, you see all the dust particles floating. And when I was a little kid, I remember being like 3 years old and just sitting there and watching all the dust. I used to be sitting there in the afternoon waiting for my brother to get home from school and just looking at the dust, like, what is that? And where does it come from? Anyway, so yeah, Prabhupada's comparing like that like dust particles passing through the opening window, or we see them in the sunlight there, that the universes are just, like that. They're just coming out like so many particles of dust. Okay. This is spoken by Lord Brahma in 10th canto. What's the meter here? I think it's Brahma Samhita melody. Kvaham tamo mahadaham kacharagni varbu samveshti tanda gata sapta vitashtikaya kadrigvidavi ganitanda paranucharya vatadvaroma vivarasya chate mahitvam. Vrindavan Natabar.
Where am I? A small creature of 7 spans the measure of my own hand. I am enclosed in the universe composed of material nature, the total material energy, false ego, ether, air, water, and earth. And what is your glory? Unlimited universes pass through the pores of your body just like particles of dust passing through the opening of a window. When Lord Brahma, after having stolen all Krishna's calves and cowherd boys, returned and saw that the calves and boys were still roaming with Krishna, he offered this prayer from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Verse 11, in his defeat. A conditioned soul, even one so great as Brahma, who manages the affairs of the entire universe, cannot compare to the personality of Godhead, for he can produce numberless universes simply by the spiritual rays emanating from the pores of his body. Material scientists should take lessons from the utterances of Sri Brahma regarding our insignificance in comparison to God. In these prayers of Brahma, there is much to learn for those who are falsely puffed up by the accumulation of power.
Yeah, the Brahma was also falsely puffed up by his accumulation of power, and he was thinking that he could mess with Krishna, right? Steal his friends and steal the calves and hide them away and see what Krishna's going to do now. And then he just got his mind totally blown by Krishna's highly superior powers to his, and then he had to eat his humble pie there in Vrindavan. So yeah, then he's realizing, oh my God, I thought I was so great, but who am I? I'm just an insignificant being here, just 7 spans of the measurement of my own hand. So they say that every person is, the height is like that. Yeah, and Krishna, compared to that, so we are very limited, right? We're just a very small, tiny little limited size. And then compared to Krishna, who unlimited universes are coming out of the pores of his body, like insignificant specks of dust. So the only thing that comes out of the pores of our body is some disgusting sweat. We have to take a bath afterwards, right? So yeah, that's our situation.
Thus, Krishna goes in every universe.
Krishna, like Krishna. I mean, eventually, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they say that Krishna's pastimes are constantly going on. So as soon as he finishes a pastime in one universe, he's performing it in another universe, another universe, another universe. So like that. And so, yeah. Somewhere, in a universe somewhere, Krishna's like, stealing butter, and another universe he's getting tied up by Mother Yashoda, another universe they're all happening somewhere simultaneously.
I have a gross
So,
question.
a gross question, okay?
Well, kind of. It's so weird. We hear that, like in the Garbhodak ocean, like when the Lord is perspiring, that is the ocean. Does Krishna go to the bathroom?
Of course he does. Now you're gonna ask, where does that go?
Really? Like, cause like,
Well, the thing is, he's not like us that he has to, that he has like, calls of nature that he has to be like, oh my God, just a minute, I'll be right back. But like, it's described how when he goes, he'll like break into some, gopi's house to steal butter. And then if he gets foiled in his attempt then to express his frustration, he'll sometimes pee on the floor.
oh, so for like Lila only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
Lavanga, do you have some more information on this?
Well, it's described that
Hey,
Rashab,
Lavanda.
Rashab Dave in the fifth
Oh yeah.
canto, that his stool, like the aroma could be smelled for like miles around, and it was like a very sweet aroma.
It smelled like
Wow.
roses, right? It was fragrant. Yeah. So
Mm.
if Krishna does happen to pass urine or stool near you, consider yourself blessed. Okay, now. Oh yeah. So Krishna's Kaviraj, he made the statement, right? Back in text 70, that the universes are coming from the bodies, the pores of the Purusha, just like grains of dust. And then he quotes Brahma Samhita, and then he quotes Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is what he does. It's giving evidence for his statements, and now he's going to the next statement, text 73. Amshara Amshaye Kala Taranama Govindara Pratimurti Sri Balarama. Who's reading? Go ahead, Lavanga.
I actually don't have it with me.
Ah, who has it?
I can read.
Okay, Ajit.
73, right?
Mm-hmm.
A part of a whole is called a kala. Sri Balaram is the counter form of Lord Govinda.
Mm. Prati Murti. Literally means counter form. That's cool. Prati means like, yeah, like the other side of something, the other. Okay. Tanra Eka Swarupa Sri Mahasankarshana Tanra Amsha Purishahaya Kalate Ganana. Ananga, are you there?
Yeah, I can read.
Go ahead, please.
Brahma's own expansion is called,
Balaram.
oh, sorry. Balaram's own expansion is called Maha Sankarsana, and his fragment, the Purusha, is counted as a kala, or a part of a plenary portion.
Okay, continuing. Yanhaketa Kala Kahi Tinga Mahavishnu Mahapurushavatari Tenho Sarva Jishnu. Anyone else out there? Divya?
Sure, I can read. The 70, sorry, not
75.
75. Okay. I say that this Kala is Mahavishnu. He is the Mahapurusha, who is the source of the other Purushas and who is all pervading.
Yeah, so a few verses back, he said a part of the whole is called a kala. And so now he's saying that he says, I say this kala is Mahavishnu. So the part of the whole, the part of the part is Mahavishnu, and the whole is Lord Balaram. And Lord Balaram is Lord Nityananda. Garboda Kshiroda Shai Donhe Purusha Nama Sedui Yanha Amsha Vishnu Vishvadama. Garbhodeshai and Kshirodeshai are both called Purushas. They are plenary portions of Karnadeshai Vishnu, the first Purusha, who is the abode of all the universes. Report. The symptoms of the Purusha are described in the Lagu Bhagavatamrita. While describing the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the author has quoted from the Vishnu Purana 6.859, where it is said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Purushottam Lord Krishna, who is always free from the contamination of the six material dualities, whose plenary expansion, Mahavishnu, glances over matter to create the cosmic manifestation, who expands himself in various transcendental forms, all of which are one and the same, who is the master of all living entities, who is always free and liberated from the contamination of material energy, and who, when he appears in this material world, seems one of us, although he has an eternally spiritual, blissful, transcendental form. In summarizing this statement, Rupa Goswami has concluded that the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who acts in cooperation with the material energy is called the Purusha. Yeah, so the Purusha, the Purusha avatars are these three. Karna Dakshai Vishnu, Kshira Dakshai Vishnu, Garbha Dakshai Vishnu. Oh yeah, now he's gonna quote this verse that I had to learn this verse. Yeah. I had to learn this verse for Bhakti Vedanta class. Not that I remember it, but I at least recognize it. Vishnos tu trini rupani purushakyanato vidu ekam tu mahata shastri dvitiyam tvanda samstitam tritiyam sarvabhutastam tani gyatva vimuchyate. Neha?
Vishnu has three forms called the Purushas. First, Mahavishnu is the creator of the total material energy. The second is Garbhodashai, who is situated within each universe. And the third is Kshirodakshai, who lives in the heart of every living being. He knows these three becomes liberated from the clutches of Maya.
Mm.
For he who knows these three becomes liberated from the clutches of Maya.
Yeah, so this is the quote that
Nice.
Prabhupada was referring to from Lagu Bhagavatamrita, which was written by Rupa Goswami. Okay, so by the end of this chapter, you are going to be very familiar with these three Purushas. Hopefully, he really explained the whole thing about the creation of the universes. So we have 3 minutes left. Any comments, questions, reflections?
I had a story on Krishna.
Oh, Pragati has a whole story.
So like there was this thing, and he was chanting, and he was crying. But then he said that Krishna, why don't you come in my dreams and everything? So Krishna came, and Krishna was being like in a child form, being naughty. He peed in the dream on the on the saint.
And he woke up wet?
And woke up wet. And then he said that, like, this is the real story. This is not like this is the real one. And that same for months, the house and his chest was fragrant.
Wow,
This is like the real same
Nice.
thing.
that's pretty amazing. Krishna's like, oh, you want me to come in your dream? Sure, I'll just come and pee on you.
Purifying waters, like we were talking about yesterday.
What's that?
Purifying waters, like we were talking about
Oh
yesterday.
yeah, the purifying water. Well, that was memorable. Anything else anyone have to share?
Why don't you say something, Prabhupada Priya?
I've been talking the whole time.
You've been reading.
Huh?
I want to hear more from you. I'm trying to milk this. Please.
Oh. Oh, Pragati made me think that last night before I went to bed, I was very frustrated because there's something that I've been asking Krishna to reveal to me for a while and he's not doing it. And then I was just like, I said, you know what? Why don't you just come into my dream tonight and just like show me something? Just like, you don't have to appear, but just show me the answer to my question. And then, yeah. And then as usual, he didn't. But Pragati gave me some hope.
Maybe tonight you'll get peed on.
If I exactly. If I'm smelling really nice tomorrow morning, you'll know why.
Everybody now in Dallas has to tell Prabhupada Priya, Prabhupada Priya, you're smelling really good today.
Yeah. I like these beginning chapters of the Caitanya Charitamrita are very important because after we're going to hear, we'll get more into the Leelas and we'll hear so many nice pastimes about Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. And of course, their pastimes are very sweet and very wonderful. But the thing is that when they come in Gora Lila, even more so than in Krishna Lila, they really act like ordinary people, right? They don't act like God because they're not coming as God. Like Krishna, he acted like an ordinary person in many of his pastimes, especially his Vrindavan Leelas. But then sometimes he exhibited supernatural powers, right? When he was lifting Govardhan Hill and when he was killing demons, carrying Trinavarta up into the sky or something, sucking the life out of Putana, or later when he was showing the universal form to Arjuna. But Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, they didn't do any of those things, or very rarely. It was very rare that they exhibited some kind of supernatural powers. So we have to really, before we get into their pastimes, we have to really understand, like, who is this, right? Who are we talking about here? This is a supreme personality of Godhead from whom all the universes just emanate from the pores of his body. Just in his during the time duration of his exhalation, and you know how insignificant we are to him. Because sometimes, and it's not really a problem, you know, it's not necessarily a problem at all, but sometimes we do get like a little overfamiliar, you know, with our, with like, you know, Gaura Nitai. And sometimes we even be like, yeah, Gaura Nitai, whatever, whether, you know, like you see when you go to Vrindavan temple, everybody's there in front of Radhe Shyam, Krishna Balaram, Gaura Nitai kind of neglected, like nobody really knows who they are and thinks, oh, they're just some devotees, or they're just some, yeah, you know, we tend to not understand who they really are. So Krishna's Kaviraj is making it very, very clear. And this is also why, because when Srila Prabhupada was here, he didn't have a lot of time, and he wanted to give us some book about Lord Chaitanya, right? He gave us Bhagavad Gita and Nectar of Devotion, so many books, and then he started the Bhagavatam. But then when he saw that, you know, time was going and he already had a heart attack and stroke, and, you know, he had a lot of like health crises, he was thinking that, you know, I could leave my body at any time. I need to give them some, you know, he gave teachings of Lord Chaitanya, but he didn't give any like, you know, Leela. That's like teachings for his instructions, but he didn't give us a sense of like, who is Lord Chaitanya? What does he do? What are his characteristics? So he wanted to do that. So he paused his translation of the Bhagavatam to give Caitanya Charitamrita. But one Prabhupada disciple was speaking, he was saying that there was a time when Srila Prabhupada was thinking, you know, which book to translate, Chaitanya Bhagavat or Chaitanya Charitamrita? Because Srila Vyasadeva, who writes about Lord Chaitanya, who is like the authorized literary incarnation of God, he wrote the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So one might think, oh, that's more authorized. And also it would have been easier, you know, because it's shorter. And it goes into more detail also about his pastimes. But then he chose Chaitanya Charitamrita because the way Krishna's Kaviraj wrote, that it's not just what he does and descriptions of what he's doing, but it's who he is. And in terms of tattva, and also in terms of rasa, you know, he gets more into the who is this philosophical parts that we're reading now, so we really understand, you know, that he's not an ordinary person. He's not just some saint or sadhu or whatever, you know, but he's God. He's the cause of all causes, and also Krishna's Kaviraj gets more into the inner, the heart, right? Not just what he's doing, but what his purpose is, his thoughts and feelings. We get a glimpse into the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his bhav, his compassion, his mood of Radharani, and he has different reasons for coming. So there's a lot here. It's a good balance, right? Of rasa, tattva, bhava, and lila. You get everything here in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's very, very beautiful. It's such an amazing work of literature. To the extent that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that, you know, if there was a great flood or a natural disaster or a fire or something, and you could take only one book with you, then take Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can leave behind the Bhagavad Gita, leave behind Srimad Bhagavatam even, and you take Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because Chaitanya Charitamrita has everything. And if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you're going to get the essence of everything because Krishna's Kaviraj quotes the other scriptures so much. Ajit or Ananga? Ajit?
Yes. I was just reflecting on my experience at the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita because, I was getting excited. Okay, I'm almost done Bhagavatam. Now I'm going to hear finally, about Lord Chaitanya's, like his Leela and everything because, like, I hadn't heard so much. It's kind of a little bit obscure. Like, not so many classes on CC, not so many people are even reading CC. And so I was excited for that. But then I was hit with a wall of so much philosophy, like so like and like the
You mean
chapter
yesterday?
no,
Or
well,
just on your own reading, your own
on my
private
own
reading?
reading, yeah.
Okay.
And like the chapter on Panchatattva is like, oh my, it's like but it's amazing because it's really it's like a test almost, like a preparatory uh challenge you have to go through to make yourself qualified to actually hear like the intimate like pastimes of the
Yeah.
Lord. That's kind of like how I see it. It's like you gotta understand the tattva before you can get into the rasa, You gotta
Yeah, very
can't just
true.
skip. You can't just skip, And some people are like, oh, I don't want to read Bhagavatam. There's too much like philosophy. I'll go right to CC because I just want to hear like the loving pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But no, guess what? You still have to.
You can run, but you can't hide. All right, last comment by Divya because I have a meeting now.
It's okay. It's not that important. I can ask you later. It's fine.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
I was just wondering, like, do you think it's okay to like read, like, because I find Bhagavatam kind of dry sometimes, and I try, but do you think it's okay to like kind of like get some inspiration from CC to support my reading in Bhagavatam?
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that's okay? Because yeah. Okay, that's what I've been
It's
doing.
just fine.
Okay. Thank
All
you,
right.
Prabhupada Priya.
Thank you all very much. And we'll do the same thing again tomorrow, starting from where did we leave off here? We'll start from text 78. Okay. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanandi.